Hello students, in our previous lecture we are start to discuss ITR second applicable to individual and Hindu undivided family not carrying business or profession. Okay, so we already discussed the ITR 2 part A, then schedule S, schedule HP, schedule CG. Okay, so part A is relating to the general information of SSC. Okay, general information of SSC. Then we discussed the schedule OS is the salary. Okay, details of income from salary. Here name of employer, nature of employer. We already discussed the schedule S. Then schedule HP. Schedule HP includes a more than one house property. Okay, so here we have to furnish the all information relating to the house property of the SSC. Okay, if the SSC has more than one house property, then the SSC will file ITR 2. Okay, then we discuss the schedule capital gain. In capital gain we studied a part A, that is short term capital gain. Okay, short term capital gain includes a movable property and immovable property. Okay, so immovable property includes land and building. Okay, so if the SSC has transferred the land and building, sold out the land and building, then capital gain is computed. We already studied how to compute or how to fill the short term capital gain information in the ITR 2. So here again we revise that the capital gain, short term capital gain for immovable property, that is land and building. So here SSC has to furnish a full value of consideration received or receivable. Then valuation of government. Okay, so valuation of land and building as per government is also furnished by the SSC in this form. Then SSC will get a deduction under section 48 in respect of acquisition of such property, development of such property, and expenditure incurred for transfer or sold out the property are deducted from the consideration. Okay, then we get a balance amount of property. Then again deduction under section 54B. But here if the SSC will get the deduction under section 54B, then he will give a detail of section 54B in D column below. Okay, if applicable, then we get a deduction under section 54B. Then we get a short term capital gain on immovable property. Okay, that is 1C minus 1D. Then here the SSC will furnish the information of the buyers. Okay, so those person who purchase this property, then SSC will furnish the information of the buyer. So here serial number, it means more than one person has buy this property, then he will the SSC will furnish all the names of the buyers. Okay, so here serial number 1 2 3 4 5, whatever the number of buyers, then name of the buyers, then PAN card number of buyers, then percentage of shares, then amount, address, property, and PIN code. Okay, so here mandatory is the PAN card. So here PAN card and Aadhaar card is mandatory, is compulsory for filing this or filling the information of the buyers, as well as the buyer or the SSC will furnish the information relating to the ownership of buyer. Okay, if more than one person has buy this property, then the SSC will provide a percentage of shares or ownership in percentage of each buyers. Okay, then we discuss the sale of equity share or unit equity oriented mutual fund. Okay, so here we studied the share is sold by the SEC or units are sold by the SEC, then full consideration, then deduction under section 48. Okay, so the SEC will get a amount after sold out the equity shares is called full consideration. That full consideration is taken into consideration, then the SEC will get a deduction under section 48, and deduction under 48 is related or relating to the cost of acquisition without indexation, cost of improvement and expenditure incurred on transfer of such shares. Then here we get a total, we fill this total, then balance, then loss. So here remember one thing, that loss on sale of equity shares units are not taken into consideration, it was ignored. Okay, enter positive value here. Okay, it means if you deduct the loss in your statement, then this loss is disallowed for filing ITR 2. So we taken into consideration loss here, and we add a loss in the equity share or in the value of balance equity shares. Okay, then we get a short-term capital gain on equity share or equity oriented MF STT paid. It means STT means security transaction tax. Okay, security transaction tax paid by such SEC. Then we studied a next part, that is in case of securities sold including shares of the company other than quoted shares. Okay, so the securities plus equity share of the company, equity shares of the company, equity shares of the company. Okay, but which shares? Other than quoted shares. So here full consideration receivable or received in respect of unquoted shares, and then we consider a fair market value of the unquoted shares, then full consideration in respect of unquoted share under section 50CA, then full consideration in respect of assets other than unquoted shares. Then we make a total is 1C plus double column number 2. Okay, here column number 2 means this column, full consideration 1C plus column number 2. So here we get a amount and here 1C amount, we make the total, and that total is called total. Then we get a deduction from the total value. Okay, deduction in respect of acquisition, improvement and expenditure. Okay, so we already discussed this part. Okay, then we get a short-term capital gain on assets other than A1 or A2 or A3 or A4 above 5C plus 5D. Okay, then here short-term capital gain is computed as A1 plus A1E plus A1 A2E plus A3A plus A3B plus A4E plus A5E plus A6 plus A7 minus A8A. So this value, it means uh, TTAA is deducted from the short-term capital gain. We get a total short-term capital of the SEC, total short-term capital gain of the SEC. Then we already discussed the long-term capital gain, that is B part in schedule CG. Okay, B part in schedule CG, that is long-term capital gain. So valuation of long-term capital gain is same, that is immovable property, then shares, debenture, sorry, shares is not included in the long-term capital gain, but debentures is included, that is securities is included in the long-term capital gain. So valuation or computation of long-term capital gain is same as the valuation or computation of short term capital gain. We already discussed the short term long term capital gain. We again revise the short term and long term capital gain. Now here next part is given here. Okay, so here no need to again revise the long term capital gain, because the computation or filling the information is same relating to the long term capital gain. Okay, as same as short term capital gain. Then here C part is given, that is income chargeable under the head of capital gain. Okay, capital gain means short term plus long term. So here make the total of short term and long term gain and put the figure in C column. Okay, it means taxable income under the head of capital gain. Then here next one is D part, that is information about deductions claimed against capital gain. Okay, so the assessee will get a deduction under section 54B. Then he will furnish the information relating to the deduction under section 54B. So here the assessee will provide the information under section 54B if the assessee will get a deduction under section 54B. So here in this column the assessee will provide a information relating to the deductions under section 54B. Okay, so list of deduction is given. Deduction claimed under section 54, then deduction under section 54B, then deduction under section 54 EC. So here each section has separate column. Okay, each section has separate column, that is if assessee will get a deduction under section 54, then the assessee will furnish the information or deduction relating to the under section 54 is furnished in this column. Okay, then assessee will get a deduction under section 54B, then they will furnish the information relating to the or in respect of that deduction in this column, that is B. Okay, so it includes date of transfer of original assets. Okay, so here we put the date. Then cost of new agricultural land. If the land is purchased by the assessee, then the assessee will furnish the cost of that particular land. Then date of purchase of new agricultural land. So here the assessee will furnish the date of purchase of agricultural land. Okay, so this information is provided by the assessee under section when if he get a deduction, claim a deduction under section 54B. Same here, the assessee will claim a deduction under section 54 EC, then they will provide a or furnish a information in C column. Okay, then next one is the assessee will claim a deduction under section 54F, then they will furnish the information in D column. Got it? So here the list of deductions is given under section 54 to 54B, 54 EC, 54F, 54GB. Okay, so assessee will get or assessee will claim this deduction, then he will furnish the furnish the all information relating to the respective deductions. It is mandatory, it is compulsory to assessee to furnish the information or furnish the information relating to the deduction claimed under section 54. Okay, then we make a total deduction claim here, that is IA. It means 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, 1F. Okay, is the total deduction claimed by the assessee. Then here set of current year capital loss with current year capital gains. It means we already studied that the set off and carry forward of losses. If the capital gain is here, then the SSC will gain the or capital gain is given, then the assessee will has to deduct a capital loss from the capital gain. Okay, and capital loss can be set off against only a capital gain. We already studied in our earlier lecture, that is set off and carry forward of losses. Then here, yes, one is given type of capital gain of current year. Fill this column only if computed figure is positive. It means computed figure is positive, then the column number second is fill. If negative, then it is not necessary to fill the negative value here. Then short term capital loss, long term capital loss, and current year's capital gain remains after set off. It means here we have to set off the capital loss against capital gain. For this purpose we have to fill this column. Okay, so here type of capital gain, then capital gain of current year. Okay, if it means if the capital gain of current year is given, or we compute a capital gain of current year, then we consider the capital gain here. Capital loss should not be considered in column number first. Then short term capital loss, long term capital loss is taken into consideration here. Then we set off these losses, short term capital loss and long term capital loss can be set off against the current year's capital gain. Okay, so here we deduct the capital loss from the capital gain, we get a current year's capital gain remaining after set off of the capital loss. Got it? Then F point is information about accrual receipts. Accrual receipt means outstanding receipts. Okay, so here F. So if the accrual receipt of capital gain is given outstanding capital gain, then we fill this information if applicable to the SEC. Then the Gazette of India Extraordinary, that is schedule 112A. Okay, so here schedule 112A is relating to the sale of equity shares in a company or unit of equity oriented fund or unit of business trust on which security transaction tax is paid under section 112A. It means it is a relating to the schedule 112A is relating to the sale of equity shares in a company or unit of equity oriented fund or unit of a business trust on which, so sale of equity shares and on which the security transaction tax is paid by the SEC. Then they will fill this information in the respective column. Here column is given, that is S1 number, ISIN code, name of the shares or units, number of shares or units. Okay, that is fourth column. Then fifth column is sale price per share per unit. Unit means if the SSC will sell a units means units is the equity shares, but units is the issued by the UTI, Unit Trust of India. Okay, then full value of consideration, then cost of acquisition without indection higher of 8 and 9. Okay, cost of acquisition terms. So this necessary information is filled by the SEC. Okay, it means number of shares, number of shares, units, okay, name of shares, as well as uh, full value of consideration, then cost of acquisition of shares, then long-term capital asset was acquired before 1st February 2018, lower of 6 and 11. So this all information is provided by the SEC. Then say here next one is 115 AD subsection 1 subsection B subsection 3 provision. So here provision in respect of non-residents. Okay, so non-residents for the non-residents for sale of equity shares in a company or unit of equity. So here we studied a Schedule 112A relating to the sale of equity shares, and on STTT paid by the SEC under section 112A. Here 115AD subsection 1B3 provision is relating to the non-residents of the SEC for sale of equity shares in a company or unit of equity oriented fund or unit of business trust on which the STT was paid by the SEC. So here non-resident SEC will furnish or will fill this form. Okay, that is section 115 AD subsection 1B3. Then schedule number OS. Okay, OS means income from other source. Okay, so income from other source is given here, schedule number OS. Okay, so income from other source includes, that is gross income chargeable to tax at normal applicable rate. Okay, so other source of income is given, then we put the value in front of gross income chargeable to the tax at normal applicable rate of Income Tax Act 1961. Then dividends, gross dividend not exempt under section 1034 and 1035. It means under section 10 subsection 34, under section 10 subsection 35. It means gross dividend but not exempted under section 10, only that value is taken into consideration in 1A. Then gross interest. Okay, gross interest include B1, B2, B3, B4, B5. So gross total includes interest on saving bank account, interest on bank deposit, that is bank, post office, cooperative, society. Okay, then interest on tax refund. Okay, the nature of pass through income loss. So here other interest received by the SEC. Then we make the total of these 5 columns, and that 5 columns is called gross interest, and we put the gross interest in this column. Okay, then rental income from machinery, plant, building, etc. gross. It means if the SEC has provide a machinery on lease or on rent to other person, then rent received from that particular machinery or plant is taken into consideration in 1C column. Here we taken into consideration. Then income of the nature referred to in section 56 subsection 2x, which is chargeable to the tax, is taken into consideration here. Then aggregate value of sum of money received without consideration. Okay, so aggregate value of income or aggregate value of money received without any consideration is taken into consideration here in first column, that is D1 column. Then D2 column is relating to the in case of immovable property is received without consideration or stamp duty value of property. It means without consideration the SEC will receive immovable property. Okay, as per, then we taken into consideration the value as per the government or value as per the stamp duty. So here remember one thing, that if the assessee will receive immovable property without any consideration, so here we taken into consideration the government value of that immovable property. Got it? Then next one is, in case any other property is received without consideration, then fair value of property is taken into consideration. So fourth column is given here. If any other property is received by the assessee without any consideration, then fair market value of that property is taken into consideration. Got it? Then in case of any other property is received for inadequate consideration, then fair market value of property in excess of such consideration is taken into consideration. So here the assessee will receive a inadequate consideration in respect of other property, then he will compare this value with the fair market value, and those value is excess are taken into consideration here. Then E point, that is any other income. Please specify the nature. Okay, if any other income is given here, then we specify the nature, family pension or etc. For example, here given, that is any other income earned from pension, family pension, then the assessee will furnish this information in this column, that is 1E. Then rows can be added as required. It means if the any other income is more than 1 or more than 2, then the assessee will add a row for filing or for filling the information relating to the any other income. Then income chargeable at special rates, that is 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, 2E, 2F, elements relating to the S1 number 1. Okay. Then winning from lotteries, crossword puzzles, etc. chargeable under section 115BB. So we already studied that winning of lotteries, crossword puzzled in our carry forward and setup of losses topic. So assessee will get a income, or assessee will earn a income from lottery, crossword puzzle. Okay, then it is chargeable to tax under section 115BB. Then income chargeable under section 115BBE is equal to B1 plus B2 plus B3 plus B4 plus B5 plus B6. So here the list is given. Cash credit under section 68. So we put this figure in front of B1. Unexplained investment, then we put the figure in front of B2 column. Okay, so we fill this information if applicable to the assessee. If not applicable to the assessee, then we does not fill this information. We directly says that the nil. Okay, the value is nil. If applicable, then fill this information. If not applicable, then there is no need to fill this information. Then assessment year, income benefit, tax benefit is given here. Any other income chargeable at special rate. Okay, so here includes any other income includes given here. Okay, so here no need to read this information. If applicable, then we fill, that is dividend received by non-resident, then interest received from government or Indian concerns for on foreign currency debts chargeable under section 115A subsection 1A2. Okay, so here no need to to read all the list of the income chargeable under any other head. Okay, so here next one is amount included in 1 and 2 above, which is chargeable at special rate as per Indian Income Tax Act DTAA. Okay, so here we put the total. The next one is deduction under section 57 other than those relating to income chargeable at special rates under section 2A, 2B and 2D. Then expenses deduction in case other than family pension. So here family pension deduction is not taken into consideration here. Deduction under section 57 2A in case of family pension here. So 57 is the relating to the family pension or the deduction in respect of any other income earned by the assessee from any other source. Then depreciation, okay, then amount not deductible under section 58, profit chargeable to tax 59, okay, then net income from other source chargeable at normal applicable rate. So here we get a net income from other source, that is point number 6. We get a net income from other source chargeable at normal applicable rate. Got it? Then here 7 point, that is income from other source or income from other sources other than from owning race horses. So we already discussed the income from owning or winning the horse race. So here if the assessee will earn a income from other than horse race, okay, so assessee will earn a income from the activity of owning and maintaining a race horse. Then here we fill this information. Then schedule SYLA, that is details of income after set off and set off of current year losses. Okay, so here we already studied the set off and carry forward of losses. It means we have to set up the losses, that is intra head and inter head. Intra head means within the same head. The loss can be set up. Inter head means the loss can be set up from any other heads of the income. That is heads of income we already studied, that is 5 heads of income. That is first one is income from salary, income from EHP, income from business and profession, and capital gain, and fifth one is income from other sources. So here the assessee will have to furnish the information relating to the set off and carry forward of losses from the current year's income, or current year's losses can be set off against the current year's profit. So here the assessee will furnish the information relating to the set off of the losses. That means current year's loss is set off. If salary, so in salary the loss is nil, because in salary the assessee will not incur a loss from salary, so salary is nil. But here in some cases we have to set up some losses from salary income. Got it? For example, income from house property. So income from house property, we can set up the loss of income from house property, or loss of house property can be set up against the income from house property. If loss of house property cannot be set up against the income from house property, then we go on another head, that is income from salary. Then we set up the house properties loss from the salary of the respective assessee. So here loss is not incurred in salary, loss is incurred in EHP, business, capital gain and other source. So capital gain means capital loss, and loss from other sources. Okay, we already studied this point in our earlier lecture, that is set off and carry forward of losses. Just provide or furnish the information here in this column. This column is relating to the current year's loss set off against the current year's income. Got it? Yes, sir. Then schedule BFLA, details of income after set off of or brought forward of losses of earlier year. It means first of all we try to set up the losses from the current year's income. If some losses or if the losses is not set up against the income, current year's income, then we carry forward these losses for next year. Okay, so here we taken into consideration earlier losses, that it means previous losses is also taken into consideration in schedule number BFLA. It means brought forward losses of earlier years. Okay, so furnish here information that is earlier losses that is brought forwarded. Okay, then make a total of brought forward losses and set off of losses. Then we deduct the losses from the current year's income and we get a current year's income after set off of the losses from the current year's profit or current year's income. Then schedule number CFL, details of losses to be carry forward to future years. Okay, so here we already discussed that if the losses is not set up or set off against the income of the current year, then the assessee will carry forward these losses for next year. So here the assessee has to furnish all detailed information relating to the carry forward of losses for future years. Okay, so here losses are carry forwarded from 2013, 2013-14, 2014-15. So here the losses is given as per the income tax act. Okay, so we already studied a chart. Okay, so remember the chart we studied in set off and carry forward of losses. It means house properties loss can be carried forwarded up to 8 years. So here we have to give a details of carry forward or losses forwarded for the future years. Okay, if they cross the limit, then this loss is not given to forward for next year. Got it? So here the assessee will furnish the all information relating to the forward of losses for future. Got it? Then schedule number 4A, deduction under section or deduction under chapter 6A. So this deduction under chapter 6A we will discuss in our next lecture. Got it? So again we revise the carry forward and set up of losses. Okay, as well as other income. So बघा मग आजच्या लेक्चरमध्ये आपण शेड्यूल OS पाहिलं. शेड्यूल OS कशाशी रिलेटेड आहे तर शेड्यूल OS हे इन्कम फ्रॉम अदर सोर्सशी रिलेटेड आहे. यामध्ये इन्कम फ्रॉम अदर सोर्समध्ये काय काय इन्क्लूड आहे तर डिव्हिडंड मिळाला असेल. ओके, ग्रॉस डिव्हिडंड त्याला म्हटलं जातं, परंतु डिव्हिडंड हा इन्कम टॅक्समध्ये काय आहे एक्झम्प्टेड इन्कम आहे. ओके, परंतु असा डिव्हिडंड जो एक्झम्प्ट नाही तो ग्रॉस डिव्हिडंड इथं आपल्याला विचारात घ्यायचं आहे. दुसरा पार्ट आहे अदर सोर्समध्ये म्हणजे तुम्हाला इंटरेस्ट मिळत असेल, तुम्हाला म्हणजे कुणाला त्या ॲसेसीला जर व्याज मिळत असेल तर ते व्याज मग ते बँकेकडून मिळू द्या, त्याचबरोबर सेविंग बँक अकाउंटवरती मिळू द्या, डिपॉझिटवरती मिळू द्या किंवा इन्कम टॅक्स रिफंडवरती त्यांना टॅक्स मिळू द्या, तो इथं आपण इन्कम टॅक्स रिफंडवरती इंटरेस्ट मिळू द्या, तो इथं आपण कन्सिडर करणार, त्याची टोटल घेणार आणि ती टोटल इंटरेस्ट किंवा ग्रॉस इंटरेस्टमध्ये लिहिणार आहे. त्यानंतर आपल्याला रक्कम मिळेल किंवा अमाऊंट जी मिळेल ती असणार आहे काय ग्रॉस इंटरेस्ट. ग्रॉस इंटरेस्ट मिळाल्यानंतर आपल्याला सी पार्ट विचारात घ्यावा लागतो, म्हणजे या ॲसेसीनं कोणती मशिनरी किंवा प्लॅन्ट किंवा एखादी बिल्डिंग कुणाला रेंटवरती किंवा लीजनं दिली आहे का, जर दिली असेल तर त्यातून मिळणारा इन्कम आपण त्याचा विचारात घेणार आहे. ओके, 1C मध्ये दिली असेल तर विचारात घ्या, नसेल तर नील येईल. त्याचबरोबर इन्कम ऑफ नेचर रेफर्ड इन सेक्शन 56(2) सबसेक्शन X विच इज चार्जेबल टू द टॅक्स, म्हणजे जे रेफर्ड सेक्शननुसार जे इन्कम अदर सोर्सचे आहेत ते टॅक्सेबल आहेत तेच आपण इथं काय करणार आहे विचारात घेणार आहे. ओके, मग त्यामध्ये काय काय इन्क्ल्यूड आहे तर बघा, त्यामध्ये इन्क्ल्यूड आहे ते म्हणजे ॲग्रिगेट व्हॅल्यू रिसिव्ड विदाऊट कन्सिडरेशन, म्हणजे एखादी अमाऊंट अशी मिळाली की कोणतंही कन्सिडरेशन नसताना अमाऊंट मिळाली तर ती तिथं कन्सिडर होणार आहे. दुसरा पार्ट आपण पाहिला की एखादी इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी त्या SSCला मिळाली की कोणतंही कन्सिडरेशन पेड न करता. लक्षात आलं. मग त्यामध्ये आपण कोणती व्हॅल्यू विचारात घेणार आहे तर गव्हर्नमेंटची जी व्हॅल्यू किंवा गव्हर्नमेंटने जी व्हॅल्यू डिटरमाइन केलेली आहे ती व्हॅल्यू इथं आपण कन्सिडर करणार आहे. त्याचबरोबर एखादे इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी मिळाली परंतु त्याचं इनॲडिक्वेट कन्सिडरेशन जर त्या SSCला मिळालं असेल, ओके, इनॲडिक्वेट कन्सिडरेशन मिळालं असेल तरीसुद्धा आपण इथं गव्हर्नमेंट व्हॅल्यू त्या प्रॉपर्टीची विचारात घेणार आहे. किंवा जी व्हॅल्यू एक्सिस असेल, जी व्हॅल्यू जास्त असेल, म्हणजे इनॲडिक्वेट रक्कम आणि गव्हर्नमेंट व्हॅल्युएशन त्या प्रॉपर्टीचं आपण करणार. त्यामधली जी व्हॅल्यू मोठी असेल, जी व्हॅल्यू हायर असेल ती इथं आपण विचारात घेणार आहे. त्याच्यानंतर अदर प्रॉपर्टी रिसिव्ड झाली विदाऊट एनी कन्सिडरेशन तर त्या प्रॉपर्टीची आपण फेअर मार्केट व्हॅल्यू जी असेल ती विचारात घेणार आहे. सेम त्याच पद्धतीत फेअर मार्केट व्हॅल्यू इनॲडिक्वेट कन्सिडरेशन मिळालं तर फेअर मार्केट व्हॅल्यू आणि इनॲडिक्वेट कन्सिडरेशनचं व्हॅल्यू किंवा कंपॅरिझन करून आपण त्याची रक्कम D4मध्ये घेणार आहे. ओके, त्याच्यानंतर आपण टोटल करणार एनी अदर इन्कमची. एनी अदर इन्कम इन्क्लूड इन्कम फ्रॉम पेन्शन, इट मीन्स फॅमिली पेन्शन. त्याचबरोबर आणखी कोणता इन्कम असेल तर तो इथं विचारात घेतला जाईल. त्याची डिटेल्स इथं आपल्याला प्रोव्हाइड करावी लागतील. जो कोणी SSC फॅमिली पेन्शन मिळत असेल त्याला किंवा त्याच्या फॅमिलीमध्ये तर त्याची इन्फॉर्मेशन तो इथं फर्निश करेल. त्यानंतर इन्कम चार्जेबल ॲट स्पेशल रेट्स आपण पाहिलं की कोणकोणते एलिमेंट्स त्यामध्ये येतात. त्यानंतर आपण पाहिलं की लॉटरीपासून मिळणारा इन्कम, क्रॉसवर्ड पझलपासून मिळणारा इन्कम हा सुद्धा इन्कम टॅक्स ॲक्टनुसार अंडर सेक्शन 115B नुसार काय आहे, टॅक्सेबल आहे. तर जर SSCला लॉटरीपासून उत्पन्न मिळालं, इन्कम मिळाला तर त्याची काय राहील, टॅक्सेबल राहील. ओके, त्यानंतर आपण पाहिलं की लिस्ट पाहिली. लिस्ट कशाची पाहिली तर लिस्ट एनी अदर इन्कमची लिस्ट पाहिली. एनी अदर इन्कम जे की टॅक्सेबल असतील ही लिस्ट आपण इथं पाहिलेली आहे. त्याच्यानंतर आपण काय पाहिलं तर डिडक्शन्स अंडर सेक्शन 57 पाहिलं. ओके, त्यामध्ये काय काय इन्क्ल्यूड आहे, काय काय नाही. तर डिडक्शन अंडर सेक्शन 57 इन रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ income chargeable to the special rate under section 2A, 2B, 2D. Okay, so deduction under section 57 subsection 2A is relating to the family pension only. Okay, depreciation available only if income offered in 1C of schedule OS. OS means other source. Then we make a total and put the figure in front of 3C column. Okay, then we get a net income from other sources chargeable at normal rate of income tax. Okay, then we fill the information if the SSC will earn a income from winning of horse races. Okay, then furnish this information in the column number 8. Then here we studied a set of losses from current years or set of current year losses from current year's income. So here the SSC will furnish the all information, that is current year loss is set up against the current year's profit. So SSC will furnish this information in the column or schedule number SYLA. It means carry forward or current year loss set off. Okay, then the SSC will furnish a schedule or fill a schedule number BFLL, that BFLA. So BFLA is relating to the set off and brought forward of losses of earlier years. It means a previous year's losses can be carry forwarded, brought forwarded. So the SSC will furnish all information relating to the brought forward losses of the previous year. So here the list or here the column, and that column is filled by the SAC if the losses is carry forwarded by the SAC in year after year. देन त्यानंतर आपण बघितलं की CFL म्हणजे काय, तर जो लॉस आहे ते कॅरी फॉरवर्ड केलेले आहे त्याची माहिती तर त्यांना काय करायची आहे, द्यायची आहे. फ्युचरसाठी किती, फ्युचर इयरसाठी किती वर्षांसाठी तो लॉस कॅरी फॉरवर्ड केला आहे. मग त्यामध्ये कॉलम कोणता आहे, असेसमेंट इयर आहे, डेट ऑफ फायलिंग आहे, हाऊस प्रॉपर्टी लॉस आहे, शॉर्ट टर्म कॅपिटल गेनचा लॉस आहे, लॉंग टर्म कॅपिटल गेनचा लॉस इथं दिलेला आहे. ओके. आणि त्यानंतर लॉस ऑफ ओनिंग अँड मेंटेनिंग हॉर्स रेस हा एक दिलेला आहे. तर मग जे जे लॉस कॅरी फॉरवर्ड करत आणलेले आहेत ते सर्व डिटेल्स यामध्ये त्यांनी काय करायचे आहे, प्रोव्हाइड करायची आहे. ओके. आता राहिलेला पार्ट म्हणजे शेड्यूल 6A. वी विल डिस्कस शेड्यूल 6A in our next video. Okay, so remember the format. Okay, don't be confused in filing ITR second. Okay, just we have to discuss the ITR too. Okay, so here we stop the lecture. Thank you very much. Thank you.